or you have security, at least you know that your belly's going to be full so that you can continue on the work that needs to be done to stabilize everyone's life around you.
Liosatos joining me tonight as we talk about what can we expect if we, you, me, anybody, friends, family, mother, father, neighbors, try to get into small town politics. Now, you might think there's a chance there, but it seems that the parasite class already has their media minions on top of whoever tries to join or run in these smaller town races. They only want their people in there also. So if you're considering doing that, or you know somebody who is, this is a great conversation to listen to, because over in the UK there, Jason was trying to spell out these 15-minute cities. So what does it mean for the rest of the world? I mean, we've seen some stuff in the World Economic Forum, how you're going to have to, you won't be able to transit any further out of a 15-minute city. Now, they're starting here in East Tennessee. There's a city called Chattanooga, which, by the way, was the last city that was a Confederate city. Up in Knoxville was the Union. And so between Knoxville and Chattanooga, that's really where the line was for the Civil War there. It kept running back and forth because Chattanooga was Confederate. Knoxville had stayed Union, even with all the star forts in that. So if you like ancient history, or you believe that Tartarian mud floods or some kind of resets that happened and star forts were part of it, there's star forts in Chattanooga. There's star forts that have been bulldozed down in Knoxville. All kind of ancient ruins as well. Cherokee were the newest, I guess, inhabitants of the same areas. So along the Little Tennessee River, there's a place called Ice House Bottom. Longest continuously inhabited location east of the Mississippi, along with Rose Island, which is another archaeological site. Excavated in the 1970s, put under TVA dam projects in the early 1980s. And you got to realize that was the longest inhabited cultural site east of the Mississippi, and they put it underwater on purpose, along with like 7 or 8 major Cherokee cities, like Chota, for example, had 40,000 people living there. But no, it wasn't good. It couldn't study that. Just have to put it underwater. So wherever we look, we start to see these resets and coverings of history. So, see Chattanooga as a 15-minute city in the C40 plan. That's the top. Now, if those of you, before we went on break, I wanted to just say it again. Charlie 40, C40.com. This is the new program from all these city mayors that have pledged their allegiance to these 15-minute cities. Now, there's 40 of them across the planet. They're going to be the test beds for the rest of it. So these 40 cities are going to go live first with the 15-minute cities. And one of them is Chattanooga in Tennessee. And I was so shocked. Shocked. I'm about an hour and a half from here. But when I was in Taipei, I lived outside in a place called Taoyuan, not near the airport. And it was a model of the 15-minute city of what we understand. It was the most convenient place you've ever been. There was entertainment in there. There was restaurants in there. There was doctors in there. There's big, huge supermarkets like Carrefour in there. You never really had to go very far riding a bicycle, which they had those rent-a-bike program where you swipe a card and then you can get a bike for, half an hour for like $1 and go and do anything. You could walk almost all places to get to it. It was the most convenient thing ever. But once you reach the end of it, you knew literally you were at the end of it, because you went down one side, you come out into these vast areas that were unbuilt, and it became quite, the road wasn't really that good, even on, you knew you were at the end of that zone area. And now on the other side, it went down to the seaside. It was 3 miles from the beach. But 2 of it was straight downhill going to the beach with a lot of old factory zones and tons of dogs, man. You would never want to walk there. You would never want to ride a bike after dark. And then the other way is your super gigantic, like 16-lane highway that you had to cross under to get to the MRT or the train, above ground train, to go anywhere else. Like if they blocked that off in that major intersection, it was like a 4-lane street meets a 16-lane highway. Like that was the edge of it there, because once you got into that, you crossed over that, it was definitely the old factory, again, like an older factory area. Kind of older, neighborhoods. You knew you ended that newer zone. Like it was so clean. It was like and then at the hospital, when you went down to the other edge, again, you got to this bottleneck of all these like clover turn, on-road, off-ramp things for the expressway on the 16-lane expressway. They had those mishmash of all these different connecting roads that would take you into the city at that edge of it, so you were blocked off there too. It would take like 4 military dudes standing there to block that entire area corner off so you couldn't pass out. But again, if you're just going for a long bike ride and you want to go cruise around the entire zone for 3 hours or something, it takes about that long to ride from stem to stern around all the edges of it and crisscross in between, stop at some parks and do things. That's great. But I wasn't locked in there. I could leave it any time I want. But I could see the principle of it. Like that zone, if you were locked in there, would be a very nice one to be locked into. Everything's new. Everything was sort of, ready for people who were going to move in that had families and, had cars to park. And it was made for family setting and like trying to build a new ark, if you will. It was great because it was so convenient. But now seeing what 15-minute cities entail, I've already been in one, lived in one, and I was kind of wooed by the convenience of it. And Jason, and I'll keep rambling, man. Sorry to begin the hour here. Revolution Radio, thank you for allowing us free speech so we can talk our minds tonight. Because again, I had to cut the YouTube feed, and Ransom, thank you for relaying the message for me over there so we could get this done. And Lawston, thank you for cutting the feed on that as well. So, we could talk a little more freely here. We're pushing the edge on YouTube. Comfort is being used against us. You got to think about, Jason and I both understand longer cycles of time versus this last 40 years of the satellite record.